Because I can't go, hey Ed, I'm gonna go. Are you okay with that? And,
No, we don't
if
wanna
I do
do that.
this, you go, okay, he's gone. All right, but yeah, that's a good point. And it also depends on the rotation, because the lead's just like, the ball's over there, I'm gonna rotate.
You want to show some clips?
Yeah, you want to put those clips up, Mike?
Yep.
You want me to help you with them, or are you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're done with the PowerPoint, Mike?
Yep. Bill just sent you a text.
Serve done?
Note about the no preliminary signal, that refers to double whistle mechanics.
Absolutely. Yep.
Are there any shot clocks in the summer league?
No. All right, so I put these clips together for her, but this first one here, I just want you to show, when we get from the top of the keys to the top of the keys, or foul lines to the foul lines, it's very important for the trail to be what? Aggressive.
Center.
You've got to be aggressive as the center official in between here, because where the trail and the lead are, sometimes you're going to have a hard time seeing some contact. All right, so watch Irv on this play. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
You mean top of the free throw semicircle?
Yes.
No, I'm on top of the key.
They're messing with you.
All right. See, Irv comes in. He sees 22, put his hands. They're trying to foul at the end of the game. So he comes in to help Marvin.
Oh, this is the.
Yeah, this is an illegal screen after a rotation at the top of the free throw semicircle. He didn't like the call. Pretty much money though, wasn't it?
Did you stop the clock?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, we can always learn.
Pause it there, Mike.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. The one thing too on this play is when Scott, after Scott makes his call, and I know this is minute, but it's important for me. After he makes his call, as he's going to the table, he alerts, he communicates with Carl where the ball is going to be put in play.
Top of that, you look winded.
Okay, we have the call. So right here, he's giving the indication where we're going to put the ball in play. He reports his foul, then Carl comes over. Okay.
VHSL playoff or state quarterfinal or semifinal win?
A quarter.
So Larry Johnson picks up the screener here, and the screener rolls. What does he do? He takes two with him. Excellent call.
That's an off-ball foul.
Points to
Not
Ravens
off-ball.
ball.
Not off-ball. Okay, so this is the backcourt call.
Got a good backcourt call by Mike. He missed the trip beforehand, but that's okay.
Just freeze it right there, Mike. Freeze it. Okay, so teaching point here. We have a backcourt violation. The ball's going this way. So for three-person mechanics, whose throw-in is this? Who's going to administer the throw-in on the sidelines? Ball's going to be put in play on this side.
Mike is going to do it.
Who?
Mike.
Right. So Mike.
Because it was in the front court.
Right. That's right. So the ball's.
Front court throw-in.
It's a front court throw-in. So Mike would administer the throw-in. The other, let's see, who's that? Joel
Yeah.
would be the lead. Oh, yes. And then Larry would be the center.
The rule is this, remember this, and you often see this get messed up, but if the ball's going to be inbounded on your boundary line, you got the throw-in.
That's right.
Unless it's a backcourt throw-in, then new trail always takes it. Okay?
Right.
Well, this is now a front court throw-in. A backcourt violation, you should have a front court throw-in. So therefore, it's your boundary line, you take it. That's not new trail takes it. Okay?
So really important. Does the violation occur on this side or on this side? So where are we putting the ball in play? All right. Think about that when you're coming up as a trail. You might want to know which side of the line are we going, because that will tell you whether or not you're going to continue on down to C or stay in trail,
So come down.
or maybe go to lead depending on where we are.
Lead. Let's see.
All right. So really important to communicate this. So Kevin, you got a backcourt call. You want to make sure they know this side. All right, now we know, okay, everybody should know where we go. If you don't know where to go, watch that video.
Right. Okay.
Excellent call.
Yep. So Mike picks up the push off.
Okay, ready to go?
Yeah, no, go back to that
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
What was the key thing about Mike coming here? Now, the lead is doing what?
Coming across.
And what is Mike doing? He stays engaged in the matchup. He keeps his angle integrity. Good. And I would say,
Stop the clock.
and I would say that, it's really, Joel would get the call right if he was going to go offense there. We don't know because he'd correctly stop the clock. But he would be guessing on that because he can't really see what Mike sees. He's looking right down the back.
This is a good play for the next segment. Go back to that.
Oh. Yeah. I know exactly what he's gonna say.
Stop it. Stop it. What should Joel be watching? Is Joel leaving?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's leaving us. He's abandoning an area, and he's got a very active matchup in there that he's not watching.
And that's what I saw.
As you go across the lane line, you stay with that matchup until when?
Get to the
Until
other
you get
side.
to the other side. Or you might stay with it the whole time, depending on what's happening. I mean, if we're not rotating for a purpose, if we're just rotating because they swung the ball at the top out here, we're just going to rotate for funsies. That's not really helping anybody. All right, go ahead. Excellent stopping of the clock, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, aggressively
Right.
scores it.
Rewind this back. Now, really, there's a couple of really important things on this. Go ahead and pause it.
Talk about the step down.
First thing is that what is Mike doing? Stepping down. By the way, this is the end of the game. Loser goes home for the season. Next one goes on to the state semifinals. But not only Mike's mechanic, I want you to watch if you can see what Joel does. Pause it. Anybody see what he did? He scored it, and then what did he do, Matt? He did this. Whoa, wait a minute, did he see no basket? Shouldn't have done anything.
Yeah. 'cause-
He's got clock. He's got the responsibility to say whether it goes or not.
Right.
Joel actually shouldn't have even done this yet until he looked over and saw Mike doing it. Right? You do this, and then you just wait. Okay, he's going up, I'm going up. I got the same thing. If I didn't have the same thing, I'd go over to Mike and say, hey, let's talk about this before we leave the court. But, yeah, he does this. What did he say to you?
He said I was just trying to signal that the game was over. And if this plays on, like well after this has gone on, they never put the points up on the board for red. And I was just sort of wondering if maybe they were late getting the points up because they saw one official do this. It just made me wonder.
All right, go to the next one.
Somebody's got to run over.
Okay, this is, go ahead and pause this. This is down at Heritage. This is John Marshall versus Phoebus. James had the game with Dave McAndrew and Jerry Caruso. This is Caruso just doing a really good job of, these are just very fundamental things. He stays engaged in the play. He's refereeing on his front foot. He's not backing out. He has the foul. He tells his partner what? Where the ball's going to go next, right? And then he goes from there. And then the other thing I want you to pay attention to, well, actually, I think it is this clip, is while he's reporting, what is James going to do? Go ahead.
So
All right, so we're going the other way. James does what? Gets the substitutes.
bring this up there.
Because we need to get Jerry down the court in position. That's when you pass the subs off. All right, unless you're working with Adam, then I take them all the time. All right? Aggressive center, transition play. Center's able to catch this play. He in his determination, it's no shot, and he puts the ball on the end line. Oh wait, this place was packed, in case you can't tell. Pause it. One of my pet peeves. We have a timeout, very close ball game, 2+ minutes to go in the game, might be overtime, no, still regular. What happens? White's down here, and they're coming out to celebrate, and Blue's down here. What's going to happen here?
Cross.
They're going to cross. One of my pet peeves is we take our eyes off this. All right? I want you to watch what Jerry does. All right, just walks right in there. Walks right in there. You'll see me during, like, if you ever watch one of my games and we're doing the handshakes with the coaches, I always look over to see if a team's coming. If a team's coming, I'll be right back. And I'll just go stand right in the middle and wait for the teams to go. Sometimes if it's a heated rivalry, I'll hold one team up, make sure the other team gets going. All you have to do is have one time where somebody elbows somebody, or cheap shot somebody, or says something, about somebody, and it just is awful. This clip here before my kids started, I want to share. This is one of the things that's good about having multiple people. When I first saw this, I was like, what a great job of the center official to come get this play, right? Well, then Adam pointed out a really good point, which is, why would he come get this play? He's got 5 or 6 other players, 7 players right in front of him. And so really, he probably shouldn't have come and got this play, okay? So let's just play through this. This is how we learn.
Yeah, the leads right there, too. The leads right there.
All right,
The trail
good.
right there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Joel's right on top of this play and decides to pass on it for whatever reason, okay? Chris comes in and makes the call. I will tell you that, the first time I saw it, I was like, and Steve and I were sitting together, and Steve goes, wow, that's a great pickup by Father Chris. And I was like, yeah. Well, when Adam was talking about it, he was right, because the center has gotten so far up that he's running with the pack that can he really see this? He's reacting very late. So he's actually reacting to maybe the coach yelling, or maybe a player yelling, or somebody, and we're not really seeing the play develop in the normal flow that we should see it. Mm-hmm. All right?
But what you don't know is you don't know the environment and the situation at the time of the game.
That's true.
That was a huge play to come get, because it was an imbalance in fouls. He came over and made that play. I mean, it was absolutely needed to be called. There's a whole lot of other things.
I think the fouls were like 6-1 at that point.
I mean, it just was, because the kid hit him from behind. I mean, the kid didn't fall. He didn't fall with the ball. The kid got hit from behind. And Joel just didn't pull the trigger. He was too close to the play. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. I mean, I thought it was a critical play to get the game.
There's also a reason why you don't get ahead of the play. Not that Joel was ahead of the play.
Respectful of what Adam said about the number of players in between. Probably should have been looking there.
Right.
But I thought it was a game saver.
Because only the Jewish guys will know.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Great time for that.
Is that it?
Yeah. All right.
I
So
got one last point.
we're going to have some more back and forth in a minute, but I wanted to make sure we covered lead. We've covered trail positioning. We've covered C. Adam's going to cover lead for you for the next 5-10 minutes-ish. However long you need.
One last point for the C. If lead and trail have all players on their side, say the ball is on C side and he has the matchup here, a lot of times lead will come over and leave all this for trail to officiate, and lead is coming to nothing to officiate. So the best thing to do is just let the center have this play. Center, I don't know if you're going to hear this term this summer or not, but don't loop up or leave this great angle to take a bad angle, because now you're looking in the back of the offensive player's back. Just stay here and officiate, because you got a very good angle here between the offensive and the defensive player. That's all I want to say. That's it.
All right, Adam, you're up, buddy.
Are you guys still awake? After that, I got one. Thanks. After that beautiful 45-minute presentation by Irvin Scott. Apparently I get 5 minutes.
4.
Which I think I'm the only thing standing between you and going home, so I'll try to be quick.
That's not true, Mitchell.
Oh, sorry. Now I'm the bearer of bad news. So, from everything you've heard today, what I would say is if you're going to write anything down that I say, and I'm not sure you should write anything down that I say, but there would be 2 words that I'd write down: discipline and trust. You need to be disciplined in your primary area of coverage, and you got to trust your partners and trust the system, right? This isn't a system that any of us in the room made up. There's a reason for the system of mechanics and court coverage. Trust your partners, trust the system. Be comfortable when you're in a situation like this. It's almost like going to a camp when you're at the SEP. Blowing your whistle isn't necessarily the way to get noticed. Sometimes it's the way to get noticed the wrong way, right? So the best advice I can give you is call the obvious. If you don't know what to say, keep your mouth shut, and when the whistle blows, at some point go get the ball, right? Call the obvious plays. Well, Mike, you were talking about when you go across the paint as the lead, your call accuracy goes down. Your call accuracy goes down when you reach out of your primary. Here's what you need these days with all the video reviews. If you're going to reach out of your primary, then that call that you're going to go make, if we were to watch it on tape, it needs to be one quick watch that says, ooh, that's a great call. If you're going to reach out of your primary, that has to be the reaction. If it's going to be watched on tape, that was a great call that needed to be made. But part of it is understanding what your primary areas are and where you're supposed to be looking. Your, what do you call it, angle, integrity, I don't know. You got to move to get an angle between the players, okay? And there are certain places where you're never going to stand as the lead. There's probably one never. Never stand in the lane. You cannot referee in the lane, right? You can't referee in here as the lead. This is no man's land. No good, okay? Real quick in transition, when you're going from trail to new lead, right, we look over our shoulder. You never run up the court like this if it's back here. Even if the ball's gone in and everybody's coming in. You got to watch players. And we don't referee 84 feet. So if all 10 players are down here, don't go to the end line.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I usually say baseline, but when Mike's around, I try to say end line. That you do no good, right? You stay here if all the players are here. Then you take it down in sections the same way you would in 2-man. You don't referee 84 feet. If you've got a couple of players that come down, I would go to the free throw line extended. So that if all of a sudden these guys got to come up, or there's a change in possession, you've just saved yourself 40, 50 steps. And for some of us in the room at our age, that's a big number of steps we save. When you come down as the new lead, do not get sucked in to the lane line. It's a magnet. We're all guilty of it. Get halfway between the three-point line and the lane line. And then based on the offense and the defense, you adjust. Okay, this is your primary spot. In the tape we saw earlier when, I forget who it was, when Mike had that, Mike came across as the slot, right, had that push in the chest. When the ball comes out this wide and you've got 8 players on this side of the lane, and go out to the three-point line. But you're still refereeing. If this is the sideline and this is the three-point line, I'm taking an angle so that I can see. I'm not parallel. I'm at an angle so that I can see. All right, I got the end line all the way through. Don't be bashful. If the ball goes a quick out of bounds here, to come across, blow your whistle, and Scott, help. Sometimes we don't know. Don't guess, use your slot. He or she may have the best angle on an out of bounds play. You still got to blow the whistle, but ask for help. If you have to ask for help lots of times, that's it. If you got to ask for help more than once a game, particularly when it happens right in front of you or right on your sideline, then you ought to maybe think about doing something different. Don't be afraid to sneak a peek at a three-point shot that comes in the corner. Help out the trail. Nothing wrong with sneaking a peek. Okay?
So if we sneak a peek and we see some three, do you want us to signal?
No, only if your trail gets it wrong. Or the trail's not down. If it's in transition and a three-point shot comes up actually almost anywhere here, I'm coming out, and I'm a big stickler about doing it on the side of the table. Okay? So if I'm here, I'm going to do this. If the table's over there, I'm going to do it this way. But I'm going to come out this way so that once I know my trail, I'm coming out here, right? If Winston's the trail and I see Winston go up, I'm dropping my arm. Because I can see from here, looking at you. What's your name?
Robert.
Robert?
Yes.
I'm looking at you, Robert. Winston, I can see when Winston's arm goes up. I don't have to be looking at him, and I can just drop it. That's the purpose of staying wide. If I come all the way in here on that play, I'm no good helping in transition. If I don't come to this spot, I can't help here. Cannot help at all. So I can't see. So there may be times in a transition play when I'm going to new lead, I have responsibility for feet and perhaps even the shot. The trail's still here. Shot comes from right here. I better be engaged in that play and seeing between the players. You can't referee elbows and a-holes. So if this is what you see, which is not a pretty look, I admit, if this is what you see, then you can't referee the play. You've got to see between the players. I don't know if that's sideline oriented or angle integrity. All I know is this: you got to see between the players. You got to move to see between the players. My suggestion would be, sometimes you actually might have to move that way to see the play. You might. But you ought to know, right, if it's here, I might decide to take that look if there's nobody here. Or I might go that way. But I don't want to be here very long. As a lead, be patient. Actually, at all three positions, be patient. On drives to the basket, be patient. Let the play develop, let the play happen, and then make a decision. Don't just react. Make a decision based on what's happening, based on what happened down at the other end of the court. Right? I call it consistency. What's your fancy term for it? Cataloging. To me, it's consistency. Be consistent. Right? As I mentioned, outside in. You want to referee from the outside in. Again, it doesn't matter. This is the same principles whether you're doing 3-man or 2-man. Doesn't matter. If this is the play, right here, and I'm on primary as the lead, do I want to be here or do I want to be here? I want to be here. I want to look outside in so I can see between the players. What am I looking at here? Elbows and what? Can't referee that play. You can't. You cannot referee from there. If the ball is anywhere above the free throw line, extended or over here, please don't look at it. You've got off-ball coverage. Okay? I know, and I apologize because Mike and Scott and others in the room are going to get mad at me, but I don't know where this line is on the court. It really is hard for me because it doesn't exist. I'm not that good. So for me, it's simple. In general terms, right? You got and I'm sorry, I've written all over this. You got a trail, you got a slot, you got a lead.
Center.
Irv said slot was okay just before.
It's a work in progress.
Leads on the baseline. Now you're pissing me off. Leads on the baseline. I got stuff in here, right? Lead's got stuff out here. Slot has stuff over here. Unless it's a drive to the basket, right? It's a jump shot, it's the curl play. Heck, we all got responsibility in there. Whoever's got the best look at it. If you don't have a good look at it, what do you need to do? No, if you don't have a good look and the play happens and you don't have a good look because there's bodies between you and the play, you can't see it, what do you do? Huh? Why? Because you need to trust your partners. Okay? Don't react to body movement. If you don't see the foul, don't call it. Unless you're in a situation where you know you're the only guy there and you have to make an educated guess. But in three-man, that shouldn't happen. Just real quick, because I know Scott wants to go. When do you rotate? Okay? You've got to assess what the defense is doing. If the defense is in a zone and the ball's skipping back and forth a lot, you're going to rotate less. But they're really, outside of that, you can't over-rotate. You don't want to rotate when a shot or a drive is imminent. And you don't want to rotate until the ball, your partners, and the players are all in the front court. The lead is going to initiate 98% of the rotations. The time when the slot is going to initiate the rotation is when he has a high trap or she has a high trap up here. Comes up to referee the play. Lead go. But one of the things you need to do is we all need to be closing down, which is close down means prepare to rotate. That's what it means. So anticipate the rotation. If I'm the lead, obviously I'm in charge of the rotation. But if the ball starts to go up here, and as soon as it gets into this middle third, I'm in the close down position here, unless I've got too many active matchups over here. And when I rotate, don't abandon what I'm supposed to be refereeing over here and over here. Don't leave it. Watch it. And you saw in the video, we had slots that didn't leave. But we also saw in the video where we had trails that were stuck up here. So you've got to make sure that once the ball, if you're the trail, once the ball goes over to here, you don't follow the ball, you close down to the free throw line extended. We're okay with two slots for momentarily. What we don't want are two trails. We leave a gaping hole in the middle of the court for coverage. Try to rotate on passes, not on catches. Okay? Because when a catch is made, if somebody's in a shooting or driving position, they're going to take that opportunity. Okay? When a shot goes up and you're the lead, everybody's initial reaction is to do this. If this is the lane, shot goes up. It's the exact opposite of what you need to be doing. You need to take a step or two wide for rebounding play. Okay? If you watch the NBA playoffs, there's a whole different philosophy of how they referee and their rules and all that stuff, but watch their leads work. They have almost no room on the end line in terms of depth, and they've got huge bodies in a tight space, and they work wide. You're better off working wide as a lead than too narrow. And then I know I wouldn't do justice if I didn't talk about one of Steve Gordon's pet peeves, which is it's okay for some action on rebounding, right? What do you call it again? I call it advantage, disadvantage, rough play. You have some possession consequence. Guy goes up for a rebound, There's some touch on the top, comes down, gets the ball, no harm, no foul. But as soon as the rebounder gets the ball and now somebody starts to go in and slap, and they slap, you got to get that. Protect the rebounder once he has secured the ball. Because this leads to what? This. Okay? So make sure you do that. Real quick, because Bill asked me to do this, so it's Bill's fault. On drives to the basket, you saw it in the video. If you have the lead in the trail and the center, I'm going to try to be nice to Mike, and the drive starts from here, who's got it to the basket? C's got it. If you have a secondary defender that slides in after this guy's been beat, who needs to help on that? The lead on a secondary defender sliding in. Or we have a pass and then a crash, right? Drive, pass. Lead's got to watch that crash. Shoot trail might even see that crash. But have discipline to cover your primary. Have discipline on double whistles, not to have preliminary signals. It's okay to look at each other. I got it, Scott, because I'm better. Right? You got the subs. The last thing is in transition. Don't be so quick when the ball goes through the basket to start moving up the court. As the new trail, by definition, what do you do as the trail?
Trail play.
Trail the play. Don't be so quick to get out. I'm out.
All right, so to finish up, I have, there's one over there for you, Mike. Looks like this. I'm passing out a sheet. What I wanted to do is make sure we covered a lot of things. So you're going to see some things on here that we covered or Adam just covered. So I want to knock these out real quick and then give you guys a chance for some questions and answers. We've got 17 minutes and then we're going to be out. So first of all, the trail's feet are in concrete. If you hear that, that means the trail's not moving enough. The trail's not moving to get angles. The trail's just standing there. The play's going on and they're just doing this. Back and forth. You need to move in almost like a banana. Man, what happened here? You almost need to move in a banana-like arc in the trail position. The center position is basically one step down, one step up, generally, to get the angle. If the ball's below, you generally up. If the ball's up, you're generally down. The key thing is to what? Get to a point where you can see the angles, see between players. All right, Adam already covered A to B to C and closing down. We know about that. Anybody have any questions on that? All right, why is the lead outside in on a throw-in? All right, here's a perfect question for you. We have a throw-in spot on the end line. Does the lead stand on the inside of the player or on the outside of the player?
Outside. Unless it's outside.
Okay, either. It's either. So if the ball is being thrown in right here, there is no reason for us to be here. Be on the inside. All right? You're going to be in a better angle. All right? And the reason why everybody says outside is because you're thinking of three-person mechanics. Also, while we're at it, if the throw-in is below the free throw line extended on, well, let's put it on the trail side, okay? Below the free throw line extended here, who puts the ball in play in this area? Is it the lead that bounces it to him, or is it the trail? It is the trail. We don't want to see the lead do this. That's college or rec. We don't do that. All right? Brian Hannigan, you referee soccer, right? All right, so soccer linesman. You're the linesman. What are you looking at when you're out there as you come down the field, back and forth?
Where's the ball? Where's the next to last defender?
All right. Key word was the next last defender, because the last defender is who? The goalie. So if you have a press situation, all right, and we have the trail here and we have the center here, all right, there's no reason for the lead to be here if the players are all up here, or maybe they're doing a 2-1-2 zone. So you're almost like a soccer linesman. You stay with that last defender, okay, and then you go back and forth as needed. Same thing on free throws. One of our pet peeves is if you have a free throw situation and it's late in the game, so we'll say that the trail's here, the center's here, and the lead's here. But for some reason we got a matchup down here, okay? No reason to stay here. At the very least, come back here and open up so you can see both, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, Irv, I got back here. Now Irv knows, okay, I got to help on the backside, so I'm going to come down here and I'll open up. But now I've got eyes on these guys. You got to have eyes on these guys in the backcourt. All right.
Talk about, not that they're going to have much fun about the technical free throws.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let me, if I don't get it, you help me on this. On technical foul shots, okay, first of all, there's no reason, if we have a technical foul, we have one shooter here, and we have all this right here, all right, there's no reason for us to kick ass on that free throw shooter. I mean, he's not going to violate, all right, and we're going to make sure of it. No. The league can handle this pretty much by themselves, especially if it's one of those dead ball contacts or, you know, somebody taunting. You know, really, I basically throw whatever the manual tells me out, and I'm going to park my ass right here and make sure that they're covered. Now, the other thing is they don't have to be behind the division line, right? They just have to be outside of the arc, okay, outside of the visual confines of the free throw shooter, correct?
Like the free throw line extended out.
Okay, same thing. They can't be inside the arc. All right. All right, so he's on the baseline. All right, but you want to be with the players, okay? You don't want to be that. Fitz, do me a favor and stand up. Here's another pet peeve we have. Okay, so you're the official. You're the trail official, okay? And you're refereeing the play, okay? And here's the court. We saw this happen a couple years ago where the coach is just like, come on, you got to, excuse me, we got to get something done out here. What is going on out here? Official didn't do anything. And we asked him, he said, what did you do when the coach ran in front of me? We were like, holy crap. Maybe you should be doing something else. All right? We got to address things. Doesn't mean you have to whack them. Doesn't mean you have to give them a tee, but hey, coach, you have a spot here. Okay, I'd want to see you at least address it as opposed to ignore it. All right? We talked about angle integrity. We talked about sideline oriented. Referee secondary matchups, and make sure you have big picture. This is active or passive matchups. Daniel, come up here. So let's say Danny's on offense, I'm on defense, all right? He's got the ball, I'm right here. Is this an active matchup or a passive matchup? Active, right? Active or passive? Okay, outside 6 feet, I don't have a closely guarded count, all right? So if I'm officiating this play, if I'm Mike Preston, and I'm officiating this play, do I need to just only focus here, or can I maybe extend my vision outside because maybe Kevin's going to come up behind me and try to sneak behind me and give an illegal screen? And so I have to know whether or not he's giving me one normal step or not, or maybe my center can help me. But I need to have big picture officiating. That's what that means, active versus passive. If you have a passive matchup, you can referee beyond the play, see what's going on and what's coming up behind you. It doesn't mean that you only focus on that, because now I can close down real quick, okay? Thanks, Danny. All right, that's active versus passive. These are things that you might hear, all right? See something, say something. Have the courage. Don't let somebody shoot that shouldn't be shooting. 22 goes to the line and you know that it should be 4. Have the courage to say something. Book smart or court smart. Okay, think about things. You know, if you have to go explain a rule out of a rule book because the reason you made a foul call, maybe you shouldn't have the foul call. Okay, maybe you're thinking too much. Have some court awareness. Think about the spirit and intent of the rule as you call them. This was from last year. Joel Pinnell did a presentation on tower philosophy and possession consequence. Adam covered possession consequence. Everybody good on that? All right, tower philosophy. What that basically means is you have a style of play, a level of play, So a foul call that you might call in girls' freshman game, you won't call in boys' varsity, right? Because speed of play, style of play is different. You also might have a possession consequence play where you're going to let them play through. So it's kind of like being a soccer official again, where you have a play that you allow them to continue playing. I think this is the right signal, am I right? All right, so this is the signal that you give for allowing play to go on, and you're not going to stop the game for a foul, okay? I will also say you need to know the foul situation. Now, for this league, and I don't have the rules yet, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be the same thing. It's 2 14-minute halves. Stop the clock, and we shoot bonus on 10. We only shoot 1-on-1. We don't get a double, okay? If we're at team foul 9, I should be seeing this. Next one, Adam. Marvin, next one. If we're not seeing that, you're disengaged. You got to be engaged, okay? The other thing is, and Adam and I talk about this a lot, if you have a foul situation where the fouls are 9-2, okay, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have had 9, but number one, you need to know how you got there, okay, and you better not miss something at the other end. So if they're playing, or you're playing coach, you're playing full court man-to-man with trapping principles, and they're packed into a 2-3 zone. Okay, I know how you got here, and I'm not going to miss anything at the other end. Now they go, oh, all right. Man, I never thought that they would pay attention to that.
Scott,
Yeah.
if I can interrupt for a minute. That's the one where you need to be able to know how to talk to the coach. Because the coach is going to, right? The coach is going to tell you
9-2.
it's 9-2. And you're not going to say, we don't count them, we just call them.
Now it's 10-2.
Right? You don't want to say, well, tell your team to stop fouling. You need to explain, very short and succinct, as to why you're there. If there's more of a question than a comment, you've got to decide when you need to engage and react to the comment. And that's the art of what you need to learn how to do, is how to communicate with coaches. You don't have to respond to every comment. You don't necessarily have to answer every question, particularly the sarcastic ones. But you need to know how to communicate with them, and at the very least, let them know that you've heard what they had to say. You cannot ignore coaches from the time the ball goes up to the time the game ends. You've got to figure out, using your own personality, how you're going to do that. And that's a challenge, but that's what you have to figure out.
Example, now too. Give me your example.
It might be very much. You know, coach, you're full court pressing, playing man-to-man, they're sitting back in the zone, you're taking jump shots. There hasn't been a lot of contact here. We've gotten everything we need to get. Right? As opposed to, yeah, well, there's probably 5 we shouldn't have called against you, so we shoot up 5. And passed on 3 that we should have called. So it really should be 6-2 in your favor, but we're that bad and we screwed up. Again, it depends on how you got there, which is why you need to know.
Yeah, need to know how you got there, and Adam says you need to know how to have that conversation, or at least acknowledgement. The other thing you don't want to do is like, Coach, I don't know what Steve had on that. I agree. Okay. Now it's okay to say, you know what, Coach, I know how we got here. They're playing a lot of full court press. You're playing zone. Look, I know I missed one. I'm going to work harder for you. Okay. Now, you can get away with that once, but you can't come up, a minute later and be like, missed that one too, Coach. Right? A couple minutes later, Coach, I'm having a bad half. Can't do that, right? I mean, after a while, you lose credibility. One of the pet peeves that Irv just handed me was, you don't need to blow your whistle every time we put the ball in play. Okay, it's the resumption of play procedure is after what? Timeout, start of a period or extra period, long delay, injury, whatever. Okay, not just because it took me 30 seconds to get the ball, or whatever. So yeah, you don't need to do it on substitutions. Okay, the horn will be your, now in this league you will. The other thing about this league I'll tell you is the players will come in different uniforms. I would just tell you, we don't really give a shit about whether or not they got undershirts that are the same colors and their shirts are, it's summer league. Okay, so don't worry about that stuff. We understand that part. You're refereeing like it's a scholastic game. As far as the uniforms and stuff goes, you know, just manage as you need to. Obviously, they can't wear a dark blue shirt and they're playing a blue team. Okay, we get that. Whatever you do, don't miss the opportunity to communicate with your partners. I can't communicate that enough. That will really set you apart. So other areas to master. Know your throw-in spots. Make sure that you communicate that with your partners. Backcourt or front court throwing. We talked about that earlier. Is it backcourt or front court? Why is that important? Because it depends on who's going to come up and throw the ball and play. Okay. Clock. Know the clock. Years ago, I used to have fun with you guys, and I used to go over by the clock, and I'd be like, and they would stop the clock for me. I'd say, all right, let's see how long it takes for them to figure it out. I stopped doing that. Maybe. But you got to know the clock. We shouldn't have to come off and say, hey, Fitz, I don't know if you noticed this, but the clock ran for 36 straight seconds. Did you not see that during the free throw? Well, obviously, you didn't see it during the free throw, so it's kind of a tough question to ask you. Somebody, every time there's a change of possession, know the clock. I'll tell you this quick story. I went to George Tolliver's camp, and I was on the main court. You know, you wanted to be on the main court, and we had a game, and in the stands, my evaluator was Scott Foster, and I'm thinking, here we go. And we had a great first half. Okay, they had 18-minute running clock, and we had an intentional foul, we had a double technical foul, we had potential flagrant. We had all kinds of great stuff. The score was like 22-20. One team calls timeout. Scott comes down. He's like, God, great calls. He goes, by the way, you're all fired. We're like, what do you mean? And he's like, he looks up and he goes, 18-minute running clocks. And he looks up and it says 16-20. All right, score's 22-20. I mean, and what killed me is because Scott's a friend of mine. He looks at me and he goes, and of all people. And I was just like, all right. Ever since then, I never let the clock get me. Look at the clock every change of possession. Know your shooters. Make sure you communicate your shooters. It's not Anthony, 22 is your shooter, because now Anthony's going to go, great, thanks, 22. No, who's my foul on now? It's I got your shooter, okay? Communicate. Don't let the table screw up your game. Know the arrow, know the bonus, know the clock. Some of you guys like to put your whistle in your pocket. You know, I'm not that smart. You got to do whatever you got to do. Watch the players crossing. We talked about that. Take charge on substitutes. Can't tell you how many times there's a substitute at a table after a free throw that's good, and we just run on by like, see you later, buddy. All right. We talked about it earlier. Really important that you make sure that you have game awareness. Sweep the floor. All right. Know what being a good partner is all about. You know, that might be the fact that, Kevin, you just went to the table 7 straight times. And now you and Brian have a double whistle, and it says first whistle of the game. All right? You don't need to go, I got it, Brian. Right? We call that paparoing people. Isn't that right, Stevie? Dick Paparo used to do that to people. All right? If you miss a rotation from the trail position, we know you are ball watching. All right? Think about that. You're the trail and you got the ball, and now there's a rotation, and now there's a steal, and you go down and you look across and there's 2 leads. All right? One of the trails ball watched. We know it. So just be prepared and be ready to make sure that you're looking at your whole landscape. You know, take a peek up. You know, you got to count, just take a peek up. Okay, my lead's going. Doesn't take much. All right? And then there's a quick steal and we're in trouble. Be a student. Come and watch, like we said earlier, like Doug said earlier, come and watch in the stands. Be a student. Listen to what people are being told. Come down when we're meeting in that corner at halftime. Come down, stand on the outside, and just listen. Just say, okay, I want to hear. I want to hear what Andre has to say. By the way, Andre Jones just came in a little bit while ago, so also one of the ERC members. You know, Andre might be telling them something that you could really gain from in your game, whether it might be that night or the next week. Come down and be a student. Watch the videos. All the SEP videos are on there from last year. You can hear what everybody, I mean, some people have different things that they pay attention to. okay? Go listen to them. Go watch some of those videos. It will only help you. You know, again, work hard. We're only scheduling you one game for a reason. Sometimes you get two. All right, sometimes somebody's late and we ask somebody to stick around, okay? Also, don't pay attention to, well, who's the crew chief and who's not the crew chief. Honestly, there's not really a method to the madness until a little bit later. And it might be one of those things where we go, you know, hey, Danny's had a really good couple of games. Let's put him in a crew chief role and see how he handles it, because we know that this coach can get after people. I want to see how Danny handles it. All right, so you might have a game and all of a sudden you're switched around. All right, there's a method to the madness. All right, with coaches, be respectful, communicate, manage bench decorum, be firm, friendly, and fair. I can't tell you how many times we've seen officials get the shit beat out of them because they let a coach just run all over them. It happens a lot. And I will tell you, there's a lot of times where you'll be watching the game and you'll see us, you know, in the background, and you'll see me going, oh, you know, give me your whistle, I'll go take care of it. All right, we gotta address. I mean, don't let them run all over you. Address them some way, somehow. Okay, but you can't not address them for, you know, the last, you know, the whole game, and then in the last minute you go technical foul. All right. And by the way, we're gonna call 3 seconds now too. All right, so let's stop doing that kind of stuff. And the last thing is, more officials have not been promoted because of this. Anybody want to guess?
Yes.
Attitude. You got to have the right attitude. All right. I will tell you that our ERC members will work hard for you. Okay. You guys you will get paid for the games. It's not the full 28 or whatever it is per person. We just want to make sure you have enough for gas money. I think you guys are getting 18 a game, and I think the evaluators get 15 a game, just enough for gas money. But the evaluators are there to help you, okay? And sometimes hearing a different voice will help you. So make sure that you take advantage of that opportunity, okay? Any questions for anybody? All the guys are still here. We got about 5 minutes for questions. Any questions from the group? Now's the time to ask, because we don't want you to come and say, well, I was going to ask this question, but I forgot to ask, and now I screwed it up.
These are all boys' games?
They're all boys' games, all varsity boys' games. Colin.
For trail, I know in two-man, a lot of the emphasis is working hard.
Mm-hmm.
Are we moving less in three-person?
About the same. About the same.
Even with the center on the other side?
Yeah, but you're not just not going to come over as far, you know, but you're going to work, you know, that banana still. You're going to get wherever you need to get to see it. Okay? Who had a, Steve?
I think now this seems to be in the landing zone and the players kicking out their legs on the shots. How do you best cover or...
You need to come to the fall clinic to watch Mike's presentation, because I know that's when he's going to do the landing zone. At least he is now. You need a referee to play the defender all the way up and all the way down. Now look, you see what the Houston Rockets are doing. They jump up from here and then they kick their legs out, and you know, Chris Paul shoots and then he sticks his hip out, and then he looks at the referee like, how come you didn't call that? All right, look, you should be able to see the play and referee the play as you see it. If you think that somebody is taking a shot and then sticking their leg out and you need to call an offensive foul, call an offensive foul. Okay, so pay attention to the landing zone, sure, but at this level we're not seeing it as much. If they're closing out and they're walking underneath somebody that's airborne, okay, we got to get those. We got to get those. You got to give them a chance to land. Yes?
I heard two different things on this. I know as far as sideline versus end line on throw-ins. I know the book says the semicircle and the dotted line from the corner of the court to the elbow of the lane, and then I've heard other officials say it's inside 3-4 line, end line. So
really, it's from this edge down to here, and down to here, and inside the circle, the semicircle. I mean, if you want to split hairs on whether is he inside or outside, you know, if it's that close, I don't think we're really that concerned about it. But what we are concerned about is if the foul happens right at the free throw line and you put it on the sideline, okay, or if the foul happens down here on the block and you put it on the sideline, okay, the real egregious ones. Any other questions? Dave? I'm sorry?
When's the last day?
So the SEP runs for about a month. Okay, so usually it's like June 12th to July 12th, but we're starting June 18th because of the floor being finished. So I imagine we'll probably go to about July the 15th to 18th. Generally, don't pay much attention to playoff stuff because it might be just we haven't seen somebody enough. Okay, and we need to get somebody in the mix. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. I would say generally for the championship game, we want to try to get, who we think three of the more accomplished SEP invitees were, but it doesn't always work out that way. I mean, I think a couple of years ago, we basically did 9 officials on the semifinal games and finals, and I think only 2 got promoted. So it didn't have anything to do with that other than we needed another look at them. Okay.
Classroom sessions?
No other classroom sessions. All right. Twin cousin, you got everything filled up for Fairfax? All right, so Fairfax High School, which will go into West Springfield until June 1st or May 30th or May 31st, we have 3-person games available for you to work. You and somebody else in this room will work with an ERC member. And you'll get hands-on opportunities to referee a game with, Bill or Andre, probably not Adam, Irv, Mike. So there'll be opportunities for you to be out on the court with those guys, with Gil, and work 1 or 2 games depending on what Irv has left. I would say if you can do the games are at 5:30, 6:30, and 7:30. We try to give you 2 if we can make it work. So 5:30, 6:30, 6:30, 7:30, or 5:30, 7:30, and you just take a break in between. And sometimes that's good because you can kind of take a step back and watch what people are doing, then go back out. If you have arthritis in your knees, then probably not so good. But if you don't have any of those games, or you haven't worked at Annandale, I know, Caesar, I've seen you working at Annandale a lot. I think Sam's been out there a lot. Take advantage of the opportunities to work 3-person as they come up before SEP. But we specifically hold out this league and these assignments for today for you guys to be able to get on the calendar. All right? So yeah, no other classroom sessions. You can watch last year's meeting, it's on video. You can rewatch this meeting, it'll be on video. I would recommend, if you haven't watched Greg Austin's video on the backcourt fouls, to watch it again and again and again. It will only help you. He does a really good job with it. He also has other good videos too. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there. Greg does a good job. He's out in California. So, any last questions? All right, yeah, Winston.
So I only bring this up because you brought up youth. And I see the kids are getting better and better at the flopping movements.
Yep.
So it becomes a tougher task for us to decide when a kid is faking or flopping.
Yep.
What's your opinion on, team up, or how do you do?
I'll tell you how I handle it. Some of you may remember Dom Fragala. He played out of John Champ. All right, now he's playing at Niagara. I mean, it looked like he was having a seizure every time he was just dribbling the ball up the court. I finally went by the coach and I said, "Hey, Bill, is the kid okay? I can't tell if he's having a seizure or if he's actually being fouled. So I'm just not calling shit. Are we good with that?" And he's like, I got it. All right, you don't have to say, I can get away with those words, maybe you can't, okay? But maybe you want to say is, hey, coach, listen, if he's going to do all that flopping, even if he gets fouled, it might as well be crying wolf. I'm not calling anything. If anything, I'll call it on him. Send the message. Let the kid know too. Hey, listen, I'm not falling for all that head flopping stuff. I just letting you know. You can if you want to dribble that way, that's fine. If that's what they're teaching you, but I'm not calling it. You have anything different that you would do with that?
I mean, when Fragala did that, first time he ended up on a heap in the floor, I went right up to him and I said, "We're not falling for it, knock it off," and it stopped.
Yeah. So everybody has different levels of comfort. All right. By the way, some of us are introverts and some of us are extroverts, and that's okay. You got to do and communicate the way that you feel comfortable. Okay. Maybe it's that you don't feel comfortable when you go to your partner. Hey, next time you're by the coach, can you tell him about number 11 flopping? That way we work as a crew. But yeah, that's how I handled that situation. Again, I can say things differently than than you can, but that's okay. We all can't be Adam Brick or Dickie V or myself or Mike or Gil. We all handle things differently. But I think you can learn. All right, I want to thank Mike Preston, David Gaskins, Irv, Adam Brick, Steve, Marvin, Andre, Bill, Marie for coming out earlier. Am I missing anyone? Doug. Thank you, Doug. Doug, thank you so much. I'll be available on Tuesday and Friday nights. In all seriousness, we really want you guys to have success. Make sure you get the games that are signed up. Clear your calendars now, because once the schedule comes out, we're going to start plugging people in. Block what you need to block now. And I would be very careful about taking a rec set, in place of this, if this is important to you. If it's not important to you, go work the rec set. All right?
Don't forget about camp.
And don't forget about camp.
You got that for the people that you work with as well.
Operators are standing by. All right, have a good one.